Welcome to On Learning to Live Well's Thanksgiving extravaganza. I'm making a few Thanksgiving staples. I'm going to start with this pumpkin, and I'm going to make a pumpkin pie with it. Okay, now that this pumpkin is clean, I'm going to turn on the oven. I'm going to turn it on 400. I'm going to check to make sure there's nothing in the oven. Using my largest knife, I'll start by just hacking it in half. There's the inside. Just scrape out the slimy, stringy stuff. So I want to cut it in half, or quarter it. And then I'm going to cut this into quarters again. I would say do your pumpkin the night before if you're doing a pumpkin pie. Just put it in, just as it is. We're going to let that cool. Peel off the skin. So it's a little bit finicky sometimes, but you can pretty much squeeze it off and get the pieces into the mixer. I'm just going to break them up a little bit. So effectively, I am mashing the pumpkin. I'm just going to put the pumpkin. It's not quite puree, it's a little chunky. I like that in my pies. I think it's really nice to have a little bit of a bite instead of being all one texture. So pumpkin chunk into the bowl. And then I'm going to start working on my almond crust.
This is a combination of equal parts almond meal and melted butter, and I'm just pressing it into the bottom of the pan, which will make a crust for the pie.
I'm going to make my pumpkin pie, and the first thing I'm going to do is put in 1.5 cups of pumpkin, so I'm going to use this half cup measure. That's good. Add some ginger here, and I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I'm going to add 3 eggs, and then I'm going to mix it all together. I am going to use coconut milk instead of milk or evaporated milk. It's very important if you're going to be substituting coconut milk for something that you use the full fat milk, because it has a lot of solid fat that'll mix in well. And then to sweeten it, I'm just going to add maple syrup. I'm going to use the same 1/2 cup measure I used for the pumpkin. For Thanksgiving and big meals, I like to have something that I tie in throughout, and so I'm using maple syrup as my sweetener in everything, and that'll give everything kind of a little mapley flavor. Okay, now that it's all mixed up, I'm just going to add a little splash of pear brandy. It's going to be like a teaspoon maybe. Instead of vanilla, I think that that'll be really... Pour in my pie filling. It's delicious. Now, a great thing to do with pie is to put a cookie sheet underneath it, so that if it does expand, you don't end up with a mess. So that's what I'm going to do. And that will bake for 50 to 55 minutes. Because I didn't know it was going to even work. But it did.
Still hot?
Yeah.
Warm. Oh my god.